Shabbat Shalom. On Monday, just a few days ago, I'm sure you saw this news because it was everywhere. ABC ran this headline, Israel's actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide. Scholars Association says, oh, that's serious. The Guardian, Israel committing genocide in Gaza, world's top scholars on the crime say. Oh. Al Jazeera, but they say, why did Genocide Scholars Association say Israel's war on Gaza is genocide? And all these articles, CNN had them, they were everywhere. And they all went on to describe how the International Association of Genocide Scholars is a leading genocide scholars association, 86% of whom, it's a lot, voted for a resolution in favor of this resolution, declaring Israel's actions in Gaza to be genocide. The Guardian quoted the IAGS president, saying that it was a definitive statement from experts in the field of genocide studies that what's going on the ground in Gaza, she said, is genocide. It's pretty damning stuff. And those headlines, all those news stories, they took off running on Monday. I saw an article sweep across all my news apps and then all my news feeds, all the social media I'm on, lots of reactions, lots of outrage. On Thursday, though, after a lot of the outrage died down, because there's always something new and shiny for people, but I noticed on Thursday, someone I know posted on social media. She posted something that I honestly found hard to believe. Something about this IAGS, this International Association of Genocide Scholars, this esteemed body of experts, so we were told by ABC and CNN and da-da-da-da-da-da, this group who issued such a weighty condemnation of the one sole, lone Jewish state. And this person I know who posted, she did something, and in doing so, found out something very damning about the IAGS. So damning, in fact, I found the whole thing hard to believe, so I thought, you know what? Let me see if I can replicate it. If I can do what she did, that's pretty bad. So I went to Google, typed in I was on my phone, International Association of Genocide Scholars, went to their site. There's a little blue button, top right hand of the site, and it says, Join IAGS. So I clicked it. It takes you to a page. You have to say, how much are you able to pay? I thought, well, it's for the cause, so I did the cheapest one. It was $30. And I thought, at some point, I'm going to get stopped, right? They're going to stop and be like, who are you? Where are you from? Credentials. There's just a page with a form. Your name, email, city and country, geographic area of focus, topics of focus, and do I want any additional affiliation listed? I thought, there's no way. There's no way with just $30 and a credit card, I too could join these, it says it's long list, academic scholars, human rights activists, policymakers, historians, blah, blah, blah. It goes on, this huge list, lots of professionals. I thought there's no way that I could just enter like any info and just join. So I scrolled to the top and it said name. I thought, I wrote Pal D. Schnauzer. Pal is the name of my 10-year-old Schnauzer mix. He's a rescue, he's cute, he is kind of mean, but I figured if he, broadly speaking, he probably is anti-genocide. So I thought, Pal. The D stands for dog, D Schnauzer. And Houston, Texas, obviously, United States, here we are. Geographic area of interest, I thought Europe. He's a Schnauzer. And then this is not an option, you have to write a bio. And I was like, oh, okay. So I wrote, against genocide, except squirrels. Pro-squirrel genocide, but anti-genocide for everyone else. I'm clicking through, and I keep thinking at some point they're gonna stop me. I really can't get away with this. This couldn't be possible. This is the IAGS. They're international, they're scholars. There must be, I don't know why I thought this, there must be a process, right? They must be vetting these people. Surely this highly regarded body of scholars, so we've been told by the media, they must require some sort of proof to join, some sort of credentials. Nope, just ask me for a credit card, $30, boom. Pal D. Schnauzer can join the ranks of what ABC called a global, interdisciplinary, nonpartisan organization. Hopefully they don't go to him for a quote from their next article. He's not the most verbose dog. As a Schnauzer, though, he does bark quite a lot, probably about squirrels. But at least the next time they have a vote on who's committing crimes, I can vote on his behalf. And it'll count, too. It might even make the news, because apparently news organizations don't check their sources. Now, if you were hoping to become a member of the IAGS, or maybe your pet was, unfortunately, between then, when I did this, like on Thursday, and now, that part of the website has been shut down. I can't imagine why. You can't even search to see who was a member of this organization. But don't worry, I've seen plenty of profiles. And these, by the way, existed even before this information was found out. Because it turns out $30 is enough to get you into their ranks. Cookie Monster is a member. Cookie Monster. The Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. His city-state is listed as Naboo, and his affiliation is Sith Without Borders. I can't make this up. I'm not that clever. This one's not a shock if you really think about it. Adolf Hitler is a member, which is a shock in the sense that he's dead. But in terms of being an expert on genocide, but I really think his profile is fake because he's listed as a member of the Women's Caucus and the Indigenous Caucus of the IAGS. So I don't doubt, I don't believe that one so much. And of course, that person I know who posted, when she figured out what a sham this organization is, because she made a profile for her dog, Star. Star is a cute little terrier who is listed as an expert in treaties. I know. I didn't think of it myself, that's why I'm mad. The point of this is, besides the fact that these days you gotta laugh where you can, the point, unfortunately, is actually quite serious because no one stops. No news organization, no talking head stopped for even just one little minute to think, who are these people? What is this organization? What authority do they have to make such declarations, serious declarations? They didn't stop before the news orgs and then the influencers and then just regular old folks. They ran to it and they ran with it. Look what the Jews, look what the Israelis are doing. It's genocide. These scholars think so. Never mind that this body of scholars you can buy your way onto for $30 and a credit card. Fictional movie characters and stuffed animals could be a part of this organization. They ran. They ran with misinformation and a lie. And that lie and that misinformation will hurt people. I'm not up here saying that what's happening in Gaza isn't a tragedy, because it is. And the Israelis, I know, think so too. The majority of Israelis want this war to end. They want a deal to be made. They want the hostages to come home. There are still living hostages in Gaza as I speak to you these words right now. Our brothers are living in hell. Israelis don't. We don't want that to continue. And any Jew, any person of conscience, considers the spilling of innocent blood, the suffering of children, non-combatants, even among people who wish for your death, to be tragic. It's abhorrent. No child should starve. No child should suffer, whether ours or the children of those who declare themselves to be our enemies. It's abhorrent. I'm up here saying that when you spill misinformation and lies into a bullhorn, it is dangerous. How many synagogues will be firebombed, Jewish neighborhoods leafleted with Nazi posters, Jewish businesses spray-painted with anti-Semitic messages? How much of that has to happen for people to realize that those who claim to hate Israel will take out their anger on Jews everywhere? How much has to happen for people to realize that those with a mind to will use misleading headlines as ammunition aimed at the target that they hate most, which is Jews? Jews everywhere, Jews anywhere. We all become guilty of a sin that we did not commit and that did not happen, and some of the public will make us pay. I could so easily stand here and recount for you many of the various anti-Semitic incidents that happened just this week all over the world, not in Israel. A Jewish child in Belgium, they went to the doctor. The visit summary, the doctor wrote, medical problem, Jewish, Israel. A young man in Santa Monica was beaten by a crowd of pro-Palestine protesters. After what? They heard him speaking Hebrew to his friend. You can see pictures on the internet. He's all bloodied, his whole face. A Jewish family was in Amsterdam. They were kicked off a tour boat. What were they accused of? Being Jews who are committing genocide. These crimes aren't against Israel, its government, its leaders. It's hate crimes committed against Jews globally. And that's only the incidents that I heard of in the news, online, among friends. When lies and misinformation are amplified, at stake are people's lives. And those who amplify them are responsible for what happens. There is a reason the Torah teaches us this week, Ki tivnei bayit chadash. When you build a new house, you have to build a railing around your roof. You think, well, that's weird. Why does the Torah care about the finer points of architecture? It doesn't. It says, so you don't bring blood guilt on your house if anyone should fall from it. And the rabbis, they latch on to that. They say this is bigger than houses. It means that you cannot allow a hazardous situation to happen under your auspices. You are responsible for what happens in your house, literally and figuratively. I hope all this silliness with the IAGS gives us pause. Gives pause to the news organizations when they cite and what sources they cite when they make such damning claims. I hope they think twice. It gives pause to those online talking heads who hold so much sway when they post and they repost and they parrot these stories without verifying their sources. And frankly, it gives all of us pause to consider when people talk to us and declare themselves to be experts. It prompts us to perhaps ask, on what basis is this claim being made? What is their background? People's lives are at stake when we repeat stories, so we must all make sure the ones we tell are grounded in fact and are sourced from actual experts. Now, I think we should hurry this along because I have to go home and give a cup of kibble to my furry little genocide scholar. He's waiting for me. Shabbat shalom.